Let's go over some considerations for pelvis position on the bike. And so I'm going to show this all from the front view, but we're talking about forward tilt, backward tilt to the pelvis. I'll mention what that does to the spine, but really what we're going to look at is how that affects the hips, how open they are, and how that affects my pedal stroke overall. My name is Robbie Horseman. I run Race with Robbie. One of the things I talk with my athletes about quite a bit is pelvis position on the bike. Making sure that not only do we have a good bike fit, because we need that, but that our body position is optimal so that we can ride with less stress on our back and we can push easier and more efficient power. Who doesn't love free watts? So over the past year alone, I've helped 100 plus cyclists get rid of back pain, sciatica, and movement restrictions. And ultimately, my goal is to bring body mechanics to you, because it's not all about bike fit. How our body actually moves on the bike is very important as well. And that's not just stretching or core strength. We've got to understand and have some awareness of our position so that we can optimize that and get the most out of our riding. We're talking about riding pain-free with no concern that pain's gonna come roaring back, and actually riding to our potential. So let's rock. A little bit of a history note, if you don't know, I had a major issue where I was tilting forward in my saddle and I was getting compression underneath my body, so it burned when I peed. That is not the only consequence of faulty position on the bike though. A lot of times we can get compression of the back, the hips, and ultimately it can cause all kinds of different problems for all kinds of different riders. And so on the back of 12 years of physical therapy experience, I realized, something's got to give here. I know how to solve this. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. When I realized how simple that was, just using the types of exercises that I give my athletes now, I was like, damn, I have to do this full time. So I left physical therapy, traditional practice if you will, and now this is indeed what I do full time. You can find me on Instagram at Race with Robbie. Reach out, say hi. If you got a problem, DM me ride, we'll talk about it. Let's get to the meat of it. So a lot of riders think, I got my bike fit. It's fit perfectly to my body will just snap in, and I'm gonna ride the way that I'm meant to. To a certain extent, you're not wrong, but there are a lot of different things that we can do subtly to open up our body mechanics for the best results. Decrease pain, put out power easier, ride more comfortably. That way, we're not getting off the bike to stretch, constantly sitting up to shift our position, or feeling wrecked after rides. So here's the thing, and this is a test that I always start with folks. When we tilt all the way forward, we just dump pressure onto the underside of our body. I won't give you the anatomy on that. We are all the way in a forward tilt. We will flatten that back out, even maybe arch it a little bit. It's super uncomfortable. Tilt back as far as you can. Really tilt back. You'll kind of slide forward on the saddle, but you're gonna get that locked out feeling of the low back. Now, your sweet spot likely to be towards that posterior tilt, but not all the way. So give it a few reps, kind of like a cat-cow, if you will, and then go to about 75% as a starting point and give it a couple minutes, see how it feels. What we want to feel, the hips wide open and a smooth pedal stroke. Now, if you find that's your riding position and you're super solid in it, cool. You may not need to work on it, that's okay. For some who naturally lock into their ideal riding position, it can be kind of confusing as to why I talk about this stuff. Here's the thing, a lot of riders don't naturally lock into that. It can be very frustrating to work off the bike, to do bike fits, to have all the PT, the chiro, and still feel stuck. That's typically when riders come to me. My goal is to bridge their off the bike work onto the bike. So there's awareness of body position that has to happen to do that effectively. So once we've found our sweet spot, we're just gonna see how that feels. How is it different from how we might normally just sit if we're not thinking about it? I would say give it 5 minutes. Pedaling away, could be on the trainer, could be outside. Ideally, I'm obviously on the Zwift ride, but ideally, if you're new to this type of work, you're doing it on your own bike, because that's where you're gonna be riding probably most of your miles. Certainly if you're doing events, that's where you're gonna be on the bike in a racing scenario. Cool, let me demonstrate exactly what I mean by open hips. So I'm sitting in a nice posterior tilt here. Back can handle it well, it feels great. and we can see where my knees track to. Pretty clean pedal stroke. I have some mobility things that I work on a regular basis, so it may not be perfect, but it's pretty clean. When I go and tilt all the way forward, the big consequence here, and my setup on the Zwift ride is not quite as aggressive as my actual bike. When I tilt forward, I'm gonna close down my hips. So I don't have any pain, I don't have any pinching, because that's just me. But what you can see is my legs start to get a bit sloppy. I don't have the space like I do when I'm tilted back to clear the top of that pedal stroke. So I'll give you like 20 seconds and I'll shut up so you can just watch. Fully tilted forward. Not too comfy. So that position might be fine, riding super easy, zone 1, coffee ride. You may tend towards a little bit more of a forward tilt, and you might not have too bad of a consequence, right? You're not getting pressure driven up to the back, you're riding at low intensity, it's not pissing your hips off, you're not doing it for so long that you start to get under the saddle issues. But when we're riding harder, longer, our normal training intensities, this is where this stuff comes into play and it starts to cause problems. So again, if I'm tilted forward, I'm gonna be sloppier through the hips because they simply run out of room. That's gonna jackhammer my hips up and down. And for most riders, the back will flatten out and that side to side, up and down combo drives stress across the back. I'm exaggerating that now. That said, it is the cause of back discomfort for a lot of cyclists. When we can tilt back, find a sustainable position, then hold it for the long haul, our hips open up, we're able to express our pedal stroke much better, i.e. we're smoother, we're more efficient, and we're more powerful. So try this for yourself, take a little bit of time with it. If you find you need to make major changes, there's two things. One, you gotta do this at a rate your body can absorb. So don't go out for 2, 3, 4 hour rides. Don't ride 10 to 15 hours a week trying to change everything about your body position. That will not be comfortable. You gotta start sprinkling it in, see how it works. If you get it right, you will notice the benefits right away. If you're doing too much, you'll start to feel different stuff and you know you need to slow down. Now, it's important that if you have imbalances and mobility restrictions, that you're pairing it with the right off the bike work. So that's not just stretching, it's not just core, it's understanding where your limitations are, how your body moves, and then putting precise exercises to improve that. Some of that is mobility work, some of that is strength work. The blend varies from cyclist to cyclist, but that's a big key as well. If you've got changes you need to make with the body, we can't just make them on the bike. If you have good enough mobility, good enough strength, yeah, you can change your position on the bike at the drop of a hat. But if you've got work to be done, it's gotta be off the bike, in terms of your mechanics, by the way. Then the key thing, this is what most riders miss, we gotta bridge that back onto the bike so we can use it while we're riding. Part of that is in exercise selection. So what are you choosing? Like, what exercises are we coming up with here? It's not that everything has to be absolutely cycling specific, but it needs to hit the mechanics in a way that is related to our pedal stroke, the mobility, and strength that we need on the bike. The other piece is actually gaining that awareness, sitting right here on the bike, understanding where our body is at in space, where our body is at on the saddle, and being able to do the structured work that will get that to lock in naturally. Because ultimately, if you have to think about it consciously, it's a lot of work. You want to be able to bring that down to the subconscious to where once you work on it in a structured way, it starts to happen automatically. So that's it. Simple but not easy. If you want help with this specifically, I'm here for you. Down in the description, I've got my calendar page. Go ahead and find a time. It's a simple 45-minute conversation. I want to understand what's going on before I go slinging solutions around. Otherwise, drop some love in the comments, hit that like button if you like my vibe, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all next time.